But being as honest as possible and really kind of explaining that, my body is under attack and, my cells are growing differently and rapidly. And I have to go through this, this surgery and making resources available for them.
Mhm.
There's the gathering place. I'm in Ohio. The gathering place is in Ohio, and you can have that for yourself. You can go for yoga and massages, but they also have a lot of family activities and children activities.
Mm.
Um, Making the counselor at school aware so that they have someone that they could talk to. I'm in and out of the hospital a lot, so Frankie just sometimes going to do origami and talking about it in the middle of the school day has helped her significantly.
Mm.
Um, we, as a family, made it kind of a pact, our rule that we are going to travel more than ever now and just take advantage of any and all family time we can and accept the help from all of the resources that are out there. um, when I first went into chemo, a social worker came in and explained and gave us all of these resources and said, "Hey, I think you would be a candidate for XYZ," and and said you should apply for all of it and take advantage of all of the resources and all of the foundations that are out there to help people just in your situation. And we've got to travel, we've got days at the ballpark, go to the Indians game, the kids were involved, they got to say play ball on the big screen and go for batting practice. And there's just so many wonderful organizations that are out there to help women and their families. My mom has been involved in quite a few because she's been here a lot helping. So Jeremy can still work and my mom would come over. And being honest, I think, and direct with your kids and dealing with the illness as a family
Mhm.
instead of just trying to fight the battle yourself
Got it.
makes all the difference in the world.
Got it. In reading the article that I just read by Meridian Health, they were talking about people with dense breast, even under 40, need to start
Yeah.
researching it a lot sooner. And so, you
So
know,
here's what I've learned about mammograms is women under 50, all women under 50 have dense breasts. Dense breasts need 3D imaging. 3D imaging is not just offered when you go for your annual mammogram. Now, can your insurance cover it? Absolutely. Some facilities and hospitals are getting on board, and it is becoming something that is just being part of their practice, and they
got
are
it.
upping the game with 3D imaging. But that is something that you need to find out before you go and
Right.
ask your insurance, and you need to ask the facility and the
They don't have
doctor,
it.
look, I want 3D imaging,
Okay.
and then call that insurance company and ask if they cover 3D imaging. Because if you need 3D imaging to look really
Might as well get
at
it done the right
dense
way. Yeah.
breasts, it's if it's not being done the right way, you're just kind of going through the motions without any actual results, and it makes no sense.
Yeah.
But two unexpected things, I'm sorry to get back to the
No, you're
question,
fine.
two
You're fine.
unexpected things that I knew nothing about. They kind of talk in passing, like if you have, your breast removed and even one lymph node. Well, I had 26 lymph nodes removed.
Mm.
But that lymphedema could, you could have some swelling of the arm. Okay, great. I mean, you're processing so much, and you should go with someone always to your appointments that can take notes for you, but you still don't really know what that means.
Right.
And my arm, it didn't flare up right away, but after I had a surgery the following year, my right arm, where my lymph nodes were removed, just blew up.
Mm.
And I didn't, I asked you kind of have to ask the doctor and ask for prescriptions. But what happens, it's not just the swelling. the swelling happens, but your arm just feels really heavy and
Mm,
really full, and you get a lot of shoulder and back pain associated
mm,
with it. And it's that lymph fluid that is just accumulating and has nowhere to go.
mm,
And a lot of people don't know that you don't have to live with that. There's lymphedema therapy. So you can ask your oncologist for a lymphedema therapy prescription, and they'll give you different stretches, different exercises, because your mobility is limited after you've had the lymph nodes removed, and after these procedures that happen. I couldn't even reach into my shelf in the kitchen,
mm.
but they give you lots of different exercises, lymphatic drainage, massages, and compression garments. So I wear a compression garment every day, all day. I have my day sleeve, I have my night sleeve, and the garments can be very, very expensive. Insurance is not required to cover any portion of them at the moment, but good news, coming in 2024, they are going to be required to cover some percentage of them.
Okay.
But there's also organizations. So if you're in therapy, they can apply to, there's a one called Lymphedivas, and they'll take your measurements and apply and try to get you some free garments because they're not cheap. But the second thing that happened that they don't tell you about is your pelvic floor muscles, especially after a combination of radiation, even if radiation isn't even on your pelvis,
Hmm.
just going through radiation and a total hysterectomy or even partial hysterectomy, your pelvic floor muscles, they just tighten. They tighten so hard, it makes, intercourse very uncomfortable, very painful, to the point of, tears, crying, just agony to
Mm.
be intimate with your partner. And they don't tell you about that at all. And even when you go to the doctor, unless you're specifically asking, can I get a prescription for pelvic therapy? Nothing gets done about it. And people are still kind of afraid and or embarrassed to talk about it. But 52 to 75% of women that are post breast cancer treatment will experience pain and pelvic floor muscles tightening just because of all the trauma that has happened.
Got
But
it.
there's therapy for that too. If you can get over the embarrassment of it. To me, it wasn't embarrassing at all, but I get it. To most women, it probably is, but it's out there. It's a resource out there. Insurance covers it as a medical necessity. So
Okay.
it's not even, like maybe they'll cover some
Not
of it. No,
elective.
they
Right.
cover,
Right.
most insurance companies will cover the entire thing.
Okay. Very good. So I do want you to drop your name of the foundation that helped families get back
Oh, yeah.
in time.
So they are based in Ohio, but they help nationwide. This is just one of the many great organizations that have helped me and my family out. It's called Carson Strong, Carson with the Carson Strong, Strong. And it's the gift of time. So you don't have to have someone, some of the foundations, you have to have someone recommend you or put your name in to apply. But this, you can apply yourself right online. And it's usually anywhere, it could be as short as one night up to 4 or 5 nights of some type of getaway that may be ideal for you or your family. I know I always did it even in between chemo. We would go away for 3 or 4 days. If I only had chemo once a week, we'd leave the day after. But, they try to keep you, though, fairly close to a hospital if you need to get any kind of, if your white blood cells drop and you just need to get some medical care. But there's cabins, there's indoor water parks, there's, you name it, and they're there for you. So it's Carson Strong, Gift of Time. And it's a newer organization, and they're just really looking to help some great families.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you for so intimately and courageously sharing. And I pray that your honesty and transparency and talking about the hard things will encourage some other folks who are either waiting because they're scared or they don't have enough information, or they have the information but they just don't know what to do next, so they're kind of like paralyzed in space about how to, move forward with this. I hope that your story can encourage them, and
I hope so.
I
Be strong, ladies and men. It can happen to anybody.
absolutely. I
It
was
can
just reading
happen
that
to
too.
anybody.
Yep, I was just reading that too. That breast cancer in men is something that's often not talked about, and it increases your chance as a child of breast cancer with men even more exponentially because it's that much more rare. So, yeah,
Hmm.
I'm learning a lot in this process.
There's so much to learn.
There is, there is,
But thanks for putting a spotlight, on this, Des, and hopefully it will help someone. And I think what you're doing is fabulous. Fabulous over 40.
Thank you, my love. Thank you. And to the whole family,
Love you.
love you back. All right.
All right.